Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is January the 10th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. I wound up having to take a day off, so there was no work for me today. Had to handle some business. That being said, what was the food corner for yesterday? I had pasta, made my little classic little pasta dish, and it was very yummy. Um, let's see here. I gotta say the weather. Let's talk a little weather. I don't really, I don't do my weatherman shtick here, and I know this is like a newsstand news situation, but yeah, it's been obviously really cold. I had to do some walking through my little local city. And I tell you what, this wind, it was chewing me up. It was so, like, that was the worst part. Like, I've been in 36-degree weather practically, when I'm working, I'm practically, half in, half outside anyway. So, like, temperature, it bothers me, but I'm overall acclimated. So I hate when I look at a temperature and then you go outside and it doesn't feel like the temperature like you're used to it, like because of the wind chill factor and things like that. So, having to walk through the city was like bleh, but looking at what it looks like for the rest of Cincinnati, rest of Ohio, for the rest of the week, might be a little messy. I know Thursday is potentially a good day, and then it's going to get kind of gross for the weekend. So I'm not excited about that. That being said, though, I live in Ohio. Like, yeah, we hate weather. Like, we don't like, well, I know I'm speaking for everyone, and I shouldn't, because I know there's some people like, I wish I had a snowy Christmas. I wish we had some snow. I miss it. Like, yo, go to, like, Buffalo. Like, I don't understand. I really do feel like people come to Ohio because the weather is bad enough to make the prices shittier than, like, let's say going out west. You know what I mean? I feel like that's the kind of appeal of a Midwestern state like Ohio. I don't know. Maybe that's just me talking. But yeah, generally the weather's not too bad here as compared to, let's say, what's going on in Wisconsin right now. They're like dealing with blizzards and shit. So I'm thankful. I'm counting my blessings, even though, I'm like, oh, so chilly. Brr. All right, there's that. There's that little rant. There you go. That's me going full weatherman for you. Let me go ahead and start up, get to the news I really came here for, and then we'll get into it. Yeah. Had a nice little twang to it. Okay. All right. Our first article comes from the BBC. US and UK hint at military action after largest Houthi attack in Red Sea. The US and UK have hinted they could take military action against Yemen's Houthi rebels after they repelled the largest attack yet on Red Sea shipping. Carrier based jets and warships shot down 21 drones and missiles launched by the Iran backed group on Tuesday night. The Allies warned of consequences for such attacks, asked about potential strikes in Yemen. UK Defense Secretary Grant Shapps said, "Watch this space." Now we've been talking about the Red Sea situation as it relates to the Israel Hamas situation, how that's kind of potential expansion. Is it getting worse? It's definitely not getting better from the looks of it. It doesn't seem like the Houthi rebels are really slowing down. And it seems like, at least from the rhetoric, any of the Western nations that are involved are kind of like just stepping up their talk, getting a little bit more venomous. But I mean, I don't know. We don't know if actually any of the countries like the US or the UK are going to actually take it to the point of saying, hey, we're going to fire on Yemen. Because that's not something you want to do. You're just never going to look good when you do that shit. That's just a point. That's a fucking point blank period thing. Because it's bad, by the way. It's just not, a humane thing. Like, I mean, granted, yes, you shouldn't have people firing on boats and things of that nature, but to respond by saying, hey, we're going to just attack your country, like, that would be terrible. So, I feel like the West is kind of stuck in this tit for tat with these ragtag Houthi rebels, and they're a bit miffed about it. A little factoid that I liked reading about here is the cost of a Houthi drone, roughly 17,000 pounds. There's no translation. Sorry, Americans. My bad. And a Royal Navy Sea Viper missile is 1 million pounds plus, which is used to destroy the incoming missiles. So that naturally is just bad economy when you look at it. But I know that when you're looking at Western interests, we talked about this before, the Red Sea is something that they really want and need to secure, because 15%, I think, of all our like commercial business or what have you comes through that area. So it's prime real estate. And, the Houthis have made this like kind of more of a political, social thing, making it about like saying, hey, like every one of these we're saying is linked to Israel, and we're fucking shutting that shit down. And, even if it is linked, even if it isn't linked, I think that message still carries across. I think they still do get points for that. And, I know the West is mad about it. I know this is one of those things where I've said this before. They're going to tell us, hey, man, you don't like this shit. You don't want to support this shit because guess what? Like, this is going to be bad for business. And, yeah, you're right. Supply lines, all that fucking bullshit, it's going to get downshifted to the fucking customer. To me, the only thing that obviously is potentially bothersome is like the fact that it's like, oh, if this is a manned ship, there's a crew and all that kind of situation, that's a scary situation to be in. You're just trying to do your fucking job, get your fucking money, and next thing you know, you're a hostage, or you get wind up fucking killed. Though I don't think anyone so far has been killed, outside of the Houthis who have been, bombed out of their boats, in that situation. But this is an ongoing thing. I know we've talked about it a lot in kind of a short time. I feel like this ratcheted up around November last year. And, it has been a thing. It's happened before, it's been happening, but at this rate, this clip, it's definitely newer. So, curious to see if this will blossom into something worse or not. I'll try to keep you posted. Let's see here. Most of this is actually a lot of updates. Let me see here. Okay, good. Had a little bit of a technical issue there. Fixed it. Speaking of technical issues, though, Astrobotic has been going through it. We've talked a little bit about it. Here's an update from CNN. Peregrine mission abandons moon landing attempt after suffering critical fuel loss. So it looks like it's curtains for the Vulcan. Astrobotic Technology, the company that developed the first lunar lander to launch from the United States in 5 decades, said it is abandoning an attempt to put its Peregrine spacecraft on the moon less than 24 hours after the vehicle took flight. The spacecraft suffered critical propellant loss from a fuel leak, according to the company. So yeah, we had last left off. They had they were smooth sailing on the launch, and then there were some kind of issues with like the battery, what have you. So they were trying to like fix the positioning to kind of get the ship to charge. It then looked like there was some kind of damage to the ship, and then there was some leaks, and they weren't sure if it was going to be operable. And it looks like they're like, yeah, we have like under 40 hours of fuel. We would have liked to get as close to the moon as possible, but this isn't really going to be an operable mission. So that's obviously a bummer. But I think another thing that really sucks is that there's a fallout to this. There was a lot of parties involved. I know I mentioned in the previous episode we talked about this: Lockheed Martin, Boeing, NASA. So like this was a big joint venture, and something like this kind of like having a failure so catastrophic is a bummer, because I know like it's not mentioned here in this article, but if I'm not mistaken, I think that this is leading to like ripple effects to the point of like even the future Artemis mission, where we're supposed to have like a bunch of people be going to the moon physically, IRL, if you will, is going to be delayed till even potentially 2026. Now, I'm not saying this is initially like the only reason why, but I do think that this is a part of that now. So, that's a bit of a bummer. That's a bit unfortunate, but, here's hoping we live long enough to see that happen. I'm always down to see people go into space. You know what I mean? It's part of the reason why I have a fucking astronaut tattoo. I really dig the shit. But, yeah, I mean, it's a bummer. And you think about it too, like the amount of time, the amount of money. I just can't imagine. I can't imagine the logistics of being a person who designs and makes a fucking rocket, and then like next thing you know, it's like, oh, this thing happened, and now it's all ruined. Like I would be a wreck. I'd be a terrible, nervous wreck. Yeah, I couldn't do it. Anyway, let's move on to the next beat. Another update from USA Today. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin discloses illness that has kept him hospitalized. Facing a fury of questions about Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's illness, the Pentagon finally disclosed Tuesday that he has been hospitalized since January 1st because of complications from prostate cancer surgery. The surgery resulted in an infection that has hospitalized him at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, according to a statement from his doctors released by the Pentagon. The surgery took place on December 22 and was minimally invasive and uneventful. But issues occurred on New Year's Day. He had severe hip and leg pain and nausea, which led to his return to the hospital in an ambulance. He has remained in the hospital since January 1st. Now, these things kind of happen, but I guess, Lloyd Austin's a very private person, or either between him and his staff, they did not correlate with the Pentagon and the White House about his status. And that has led to, kerfuffles, issues. And people have been wondering, like, okay, so, like, is he going to resign? What's the 411? Is any heads going to roll? So far, everyone's heads are attached to their shoulders and necks. So, there's that. I think that's part of the reason why they came out and was like, he has cancer. You know what I mean? Because then it's like, all right. I think that's one of those things where it kind of makes sense why it lends to, like, saying, well, yeah, you'd want to be maybe a little bit private for that. So, obviously, that's unfortunate, but, hopefully he's dealing with it and, all that. Yeah, I don't like any of these, top brass motherfuckers, of course, but, it's not like I'm wanting them to fucking get riddled with cancer. Unless they're like, Donald Rumsfeld or something, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, buddy. Sucks to suck. Anyway, leave it there. I mean, there's more to read if you'd like, but it's kind of spilt milk at this point, if you ask me. We are on our last article, so you know what that means. I am going to take my break. Ooh, I'm being greedy. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay. Whew. Looks like we made it. From CNN. Nevada man seen on video attacking judge faces attempted murder. A man who was seen on video leaping over a court table and attacking a Nevada judge while in court last week has been charged with attempted murder, according to a criminal complaint. Deobra Redden, 30, also faces counts of battery on a protected person, battery of an officer, battery by a prisoner, intimidating a public officer, extortion, and other charges in connection with the January 3rd attack on Judge Mary Kay Holthus during his sentencing in another case, the court document says. Once he knew she was about to sentence him to prison, Redden did leap over defense counsel table into the well of the courtroom. Thereafter, rushing the judicial bench and jumping over it Superman style directly into Judge Mary Kay Holthus's judicial space, landing directly on top of her and immediately attacking Judge Mary Kay Holthus by grabbing her, pulling her hair, placing his hands around her throat, and or hitting her on the head. The criminal complaint details. Several of the battery charges allege Redden fought with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Office and a clerk and a marshal and spit on an officer, according to the complaint. On Tuesday, he appeared in court before a different judge, and a preliminary hearing on the new charges was set for February 14th. Now, I think it was there that I realized, oh, I want to cover this. And the reason kind of was because it was, I realized that a lot of people I was seeing on the internet talk about it, and even like people at work were like coming up to me and talking to me about it. So I was like, oh, okay, so like this really has made the rounds. People have really seen it, and people have opinions about it. And obviously, I think that's good that we're having a discourse about things like this. But also, I get why, too, because even when I saw it, I had, like, the lizard brain reaction of, like, in my head, I said World Star. Like, I'm sorry. Like, anytime you just see, like, some crazy shit, like, as a millennial, that's usually what happens in your brain. And it's one of those things where you just have that visceral reaction, like, oh, shit, oh, my God, like, I can't believe that just happened. And, you know, you can feel one way about that or the other. Obviously, I'm not rooting or advocating for anyone being physically assaulted here. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, damn, this dude just really just said, fuck this shit. Fuck it. He literally was like, cause there's a discourse between it. Like I actually got to watch it, and I think if I can find it here, let's see. The incident unfolded last Wednesday after Redden and his attorney asked the judge for probation rather than time behind bars, saying the 30-year-old is getting his life back on track with a new job and plans to resume his education. Excuse me. Let's see here. Holthus then read the defendant's criminal history aloud in court, which included 3 felonies, misdemeanors, multiple domestic violence, robberies, attempted home invasion. Redden's attorney then Redden's attorney told the judge he believed his client could complete probation successfully. I appreciate that, the judge replied, but I think it's time that he get a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. Seconds later, Redden shouted, "Fuck that bitch." Or he said, "Fuck that bitch?" I don't know what the inflection was. It really does happen quick. And ran towards the judge, leaping over the bench and attacking her. Redden tackled Holthus to the ground, and both disappeared from the camera's view behind the bench, the video shows. As others in the courtroom tried to restrain him, Redden screamed, "Fuck you both," and threw several punches. Now, obviously, I think everyone kind of has that lizard brain reaction, but once again, I take you back to that moment where he's doing the second trial. And he comes back and he's got the spit guard on him. He's got the like almost like it looks like almost like pool noodles on his hands. So essentially it's like these are the kind of restraints that they use to like if they think you're gonna be violent. And that's something that like, you know, I always remember seeing when I watched Locked Up Abroad and any kind of like prison footage, whatever. And it's something that like, yes, you get it in the moment. Like, this is a lockup situation. This is a person who's not being compliant. They're being very violent. They are spitting. They are punching. They will not comply. You have to do something. I get it. But these kind of things do look and feel draconian. You know what I mean? Whether it's the shit you're seeing here, or you see the crazy fucking chair where they have you like strapped up. Like I wish I could like had a link or something available. I don't even know what the name of it is. But if you know, you know. That's a medieval torture, but in the modern age type of shit. And it just sucks to see anyone, you know, in that kind of situation. But I think especially here. Oops, sorry, my water fell. My bad. If you heard that clang. But with Redden, man who attacked Las Vegas judge has schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, says lawyer. The family of a man who was filmed attacking a Las Vegas judge has come forward to say that while they don't condone Deborah Redding's actions, if it's Deborah Redding and it's just a guy, my bad. His mental health had not been taken into consideration before the court appearance. That was just a little bit of a aside from the Guardian. I wanted to reference and pull that. Now, does that excuse his behavior? No, it doesn't. Like, yes, you can have a mental health problem, but then that also is something that becomes your responsibility to, manage, to handle. You don't just get to flip a switch, black out, and do whatever the fuck you want. Like, it's just not a blank check. I don't care who you are. That doesn't matter. But I do think it is something that it's like, look, if you generally did feel like, hey, I am trying to better myself. I was, and I had a mistake. I messed up. And, next thing you know, now you're going to have to actually, like, go to prison. And, that's going to ruin your fucking, future you're trying to fucking make for yourself. I can get being upset. I can get being frustrated. Is that a pass to do what Redden did? Hell no. No fucking way. But I think that if you put yourself in that situation, once again, you can at least get it. You can at least understand it. And I will say, yeah, it was a crazy fucking clip. And I'll leave it at that. I think that's the episode for me. Let's see here. If you'd like to help out, if you'd like to support, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. I shout you out at the top of the month. Say your name, plug a project if you like. Free ways to hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. And then also I'm on all the socials you're on, so feel free to follow me or the podcast there. Say what's up there if you'd like. Also, I gotta say, please subscribe to the YouTube. Helps out a lot. Also, I appreciate any and everyone who has listened recently. I check the shit. I'm kind of slow to the shit, but I appreciate any and all of the comments. That shit is great. It blows my mind. Even if I just get like a small little handful, like, you gotta understand, I'm a small bean content creator. That's like, what? Like, you guys are making my year already. So I thank you so much for that. Clap it up for y'all. Thank you to any and all new listeners. If you've made it this far, you're already crazy. You're awesome. I love you. In a non-weird way, of course. But yeah, just wanted to say thank you so much for anyone who listens, contributes, likes, all that good stuff. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.